Welcome to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. Snap One holds a unique position in the custom installation market. The Charlotte, North Carolina-based company is not only the leading manufacturer across a large swath of equipment categories, but also the leading distributor with partner stores spread across North America. Due to Snap's extensive market research, integrators, of course, want to know what's on tap from this case-setting company. CE Pro editor Jason Knott spoke with Snap One's John Heyman and GPaul Hess about what lies ahead on their product roadmap and their market outlook in 2023 for custom installation in this week's podcast episode. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review.
You know, Snap One is the bellwether company for the custom electronics industry. The company leads as the product category leader in so many categories, over 20 that CE Pro tracks alone. And it's been about 2 years since Snap One rebranded. So we thought it'd be a great time to kind of check in and look at some of the initiatives that the company's got going on and its outlook looking ahead. So with me today are GPaul Hess, Chief Product Officer. Hi, GPaul.
Hey, Jason. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining me. And also John Heyman, CEO. Hey, John.
Jason, good to see you.
Thanks for taking the time. All right. Let's start right out with just kind of give us an update on the company's strategy of where Snap One is on its corporate journey. John?
Well, thanks. Great way to kind of open this exciting podcast. You know, when I speak with the company or I even speak with integrators out there, kind of the way I describe what Snap One is doing is we're on a 1,000-mile journey and we're about 500 miles in today. I joined this company 8 years ago as an outsider to this industry. My experience had been in building software and devices for restaurants and retailers. And when I saw what was Snap AV at the time, I saw a company that had an amazing culture that was built by integrators. Snap One was a company built by integrators for integrators. And I saw an amazing group of people, an amazing way to go to market in terms of e-commerce, an amazing set of products, and an amazing culture. And I think we've built off that over the past 8 years since I've been here. And what that continues to be steeped in is making dealers' lives easier by building better products, better platforms, and bringing them to market in an integrator-centric manner. And if you look at, over the years, our first foray into software was with Oversee, which has been, a great product in the industry and one that we continue to invest heavily in. And then building a second platform to deliver on the aspiration the discerning consumer of this industry demands. And that is the control system. And so we have been working very hard at integrating and improving Oversee and OS3. We've been working hard at building products for integrators to add to that ecosystem and delight their end customer. And the second area is we've been working hard on our go-to-market system, which is we recognize that, number one, many integrators love to shop through our e-commerce portal, but many want a brick and mortar presence in their local communities. So we've been expanding on that. We, 4 years ago had 0 brick and mortar locations. Today we have almost 40. We are now in the midst of joining the Snap AV and Control4 portal. So if you look at that, last week was the first week integrators were able to buy Control4 products on the Snap AV portal. And that'll be launched to the general market here soon. Very specifically, by the way, only certified Control4 dealers can buy Control4 products on the Snap portal. And we've been continuing to invest in other elements of our ecosystem. But this is a journey. And so we're continuing to add to our brick and mortar presence. We're continuing to build on some exciting products, many of which we started to show at CEDIA, but GPaul will speak to this. We have so many exciting things ahead, continuing to invest in the software that makes all these wonderful experiences work. Like, this is an industry that, 20 years ago was a solid state industry, and now it's an open technology industry, and we have to foster all these products, both ours and others, working well together. That's why we say we're 500 miles in, but it's a really exciting time to be at the company. And I love working with this team of people I get to every week.
That was a great overview. So before we look ahead into 2023 and GPaul, give us, some of the highlights of the key initiatives in 2022. I know John touched on some of them, but tell us about what, from your perspective, what were some of the key highlights from initiatives that you launched last year?
Absolutely. Actually, I'm going to extend that back 2 years. And the reason is, when we renamed the company and brought Snap One together, we plotted a vision, and that product vision and the experiences that both our partners and our end customers have. Now, we can't publicize that vision, unfortunately, but we've been dropping a lot of what I call breadcrumbs along the way. So over the last 2 years, we have made some incredible product launches, over 120 projects representing 600 SKUs that we have launched with Snap One or Control4. And there's some really big names out there. Core controllers. We relaunched the core controllers last year for a whole new platform of very powerful controllers that we'll build and iterate off of for many years to come. That's a new hardware platform that we'll continue to invest in. Net new categories like vibrant lighting we showed and launched last year. And so now we've extended into linear lighting. Triad PDX, one of the most well-known audio brands in industry, and one that hasn't really seen as much innovation or as much investment over time. And we are starting to show all the work that we've been doing over the past couple of years with the new architectural Triad PDX products. Sunbright Veranda 3, we had our very first outdoor smart TV that we launched last year. Wi-Fi 6 inside the Arachnus brands. Wattbox 240, this is the products that now we take international for Wattbox and Oversee to go international. And then things that are bellwethers like the Strong brands, so mounts and racks, particularly for our commercial partners and for the commercial market we serve. So those are just some of the products that we've launched, but we've made huge advancements on our platforms. John mentioned that. So Oversee and Control4 OS3 platforms. We've delivered a new dashboard inside Oversee. We've really worked very hard to address the notifications and make sure we reduce those down to actionable notifications for our partners. Interoperability is also an area that we have been very diligent on. Today, I can't imagine any other system is more powerful than the Control4 platform for interoperability. We have over 20,000 drivers that are available today with Control4. Last year alone, we touched 6,000 of those drivers to update them. As TV manufacturers launch new products, we have to tweak the drivers, but we also added over 5,000 new drivers as well. And to continue to round out all these new products, we added the access networks, both from a design services element, which greatly enhances the ability for partners to scale their business and deliver incredible best-in-class networks, but also with the best product that's available for networking. And of course, Claire One and Claire Vision, which extends us more into the security channel as well. So the teams have been hard at work over the last 2 years, for sure.
Hey, GPaul, if I can for a second, I think you spoke about many of the products. I think, since the day I joined the company 8 years ago, I remember you taking me out to the Northwest and visiting integrators, and you and Dave Moore, by the way, is our EVP of engineering. And you guys are taking notes, and you're not going to meet necessarily with the owners of the businesses. You guys wanted to get to as many integrators as fast as you could early in the morning when they were loading trucks. And the thing that has struck me over the years is, this industry provides such amazing experiences to the end consumer. But when you talk to the consumer, the issues that they have with the industry around the complex installs and what becomes reliability issues in the home. And the industry may not love to hear that, but that's factual. We survey end customers. And what GPaul and his team have been working on is to make the aspirations of this industry easier to install and more reliable to support. And now, even when it's not as reliable, which electronics and software can have issues, to offer a service like Parasol to support, help the integrator support the end customer. And so the investments that we're making to make the dealers' lives easier on the front end install and then the back end reliability and supportability of the product are second to none. And again, there'll always be more work left to do there.
I just grabbed a notebook. You will see when our teams are in the field, CEDIA or visiting our partners at their showrooms, we're constantly making lots of notes. And this is just one of many ways we get feedback. So a lot of people ask me, where does that product vision come from? It comes from this industry. It comes from the many folks that are inside of our teams that have been part of this industry for a long time. It comes from our partners when we go out in the field, when we make notes. It comes from the surveys. It comes from end customers. So we take all this information and we bring it all together to help paint that forward vision. And the two words you said, John, simple and reliable. That is our goal.
Yeah.
You know, GPaul, when you were running through that, the portfolio of brands there, and, you know, most of them homegrown brands from Snap One and then others that you've acquired over the years. The difficulty and the enormity of bringing together so many parts and pieces to make a successful, cohesive plan. All I can think of as an analogy is the United States of America. We have these 50 different states that are all brought together for a single success team. And it's kind of the same thing that you're doing with all the parts and pieces within your portfolio. So the enormity of the task is great, but the success, is the proof is in the pudding. So you mentioned being out in the field, taking notes, meeting with integrators. So 2022 was a challenging year for many integrators, as well as many vendors out there, with the supply chain situation and other things. Give us a sense of how Snap One fared in 2022 from that standpoint.
Well, fortunately, some of those issues, just let me first say publicly, we have gotten past, and I hope the industry is getting past. But, you know, the issues with, first, I'll say supply chain. Second, what I'll say, inflation. And third, with labor, were like three critical issues that I think almost every vendor faced and many of our integrators faced. From a supply chain standpoint, one of the things that we decided a couple of years ago and were able to do because of the size and financial health of the company is we decided as a company to use our balance sheet to invest in inventory for the industry. So we weren't always perfect in that regard. I think, at times we dipped as low as, 95% availability, but 95% still pretty high. But if you're an integrator and you need a part and we didn't have it, or another manufacturer didn't have it, then, that was an issue for you and your business and serving your customer. So we did our best when supply chains were short of supply to use our balance sheet. The second thing we started to run into, though, fairly early in the year was componentry shortages. So it's one thing to get the manufacturers to deliver for you. The other issue was for them to be able to secure the componentry. And this is where we were blessed, frankly. We have an engineering team. We have literally hundreds of engineers in our offices in Salt Lake, Charlotte, Serbia, and elsewhere around the country. And those teams work with our supply chain team to quickly identify new componentry, and the supply chain team secured that componentry, albeit at a high cost. And we had to throw away engineering efforts, but we were able to pivot very quickly so that we could secure the componentry that was available for the integrator. So that's one area I think that we were able to pivot on. It cost us a lot of money, Jason. I think as we size the impact to our company, it probably cost us $40 million last year, like real dollars. Some of the good news is the supply chain has become more available to everyone now. But Snap One has a number one focus on the residential industry, and we were able to bring our dollars and our engineering efforts to bear for them. On the inflation and labor front, look, we're all fighting it. We're all fighting it. It's real. It hasn't gone completely away. I would point to labor. Labor is something that has rippled through every industry and the cost of labor. And we did some things to take care of our people last year, especially people on the lower end of the pay spectrum, where we invested because, you know, these people were heroes. Like when America was working at home, these people were still going into our brick and mortar and our distribution centers every single day with masks on and working. And so we have tried to do whatever we can to keep the cost of materials down, to minimize the price increases that we and our integrators have had to pass on to the consumer. GPaul, I think it's public at this point. We just enacted a very small price increase, nothing like what we've had to do over the past couple of years, and something that's kind of much more kind of normal in the eyes of the industry. And then on the labor front, you know, we're continuing to work hard to find the right type of people to kind of bring to bear for the industry. Parasol has been an effort where we've recognized that especially some of our smaller integration partners just don't have the scale to support their customers on a 24/7 basis. And so we've been able to protect their brand and provide a service that their discerning customer wants. And so Parasol has been a real success out there where we've been able to invest on the industry's behalf. I think access networks is another area, GPaul, where if our integrators don't have access to, you know, the right design services inside their staff, they can rely on us to design a sophisticated network. So those are just some clear pain points for the industry, and we're continuing to listen to the industry and try to design solutions for them.
John, I find when I'm in the field, you know, we were a very product-centric industry, of course, and many of our partners love hearing behind the scenes. Just to kind of double down on what you said on the engineering team and supply chain teams, really unsung heroes. I don't think there's a company that performed better than we did. We did not have any major category out of stock for the time period that many others in the in and outside, both in and outside the industry, experienced as well. And that's because we were working around the clock. As John says, we call it internally chasing the sun. We've got an office in Serbia with software engineering teams that transitions into Charlotte, where we have engineering and development teams as well. And then, of course, Control 4 is located in Draper, and we've got a very large hardware, electrical, and software team there. Transition into the West Coast, California, Portland teams, and then Taiwan. And these folks were working around the clock on the product side, but also with their counterparts in the supply chain team, and just did a Herculean effort. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and John mentioned it. We could have a chip that we were normally paying $20 for, that in worst case was well over $200 at the height of COVID. And our team's navigating that and working hard to bring in products that weren't impacted with those price points, and working to re-engineer products. Nothing's worse than asking an engineer to redesign a product they just finished designing. And there's cases where that had to happen 3 times for a product just to make it through. So incredible efforts that really were behind the scenes, and most of our partners aren't aware of, but one that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, you know, when integrators pick partners to deal with, and especially in this industry, oftentimes it's all about the product. They don't probably think about the supply chain. And our supply chain team, when they're qualifying the hundreds of vendors we use, they're making sure that Snap One is a really important customer to them. And I think one of the things that I will just say to this industry is this industry is the most important thing to our company. That is what drives our business. And, you know, we work so hard every single day to make sure that we have this industry's back. And hopefully notwithstanding that we had our own missteps along the way too. Hopefully that's recognized by the industry.
Yeah, I think it is. I know I heard from many integrators who, knowing that they really actually were pleased. I shouldn't say the word pleased, but they liked the fact that you gave them advance notice on when you were going to have price changes. That actually enabled them to go to their customer base and say, let's book this project now, and actually help them close some deals. And then on the labor front, an integrator told me something the other day, and as the smart home market continues to mature, integrators have this, they're always chasing that new customer, but they have this huge bulk of past customers that continue to grow and grow and grow. The essence of Oversee and the essence of Parasol are helping them from, quite frankly, being strangled by their own success. Because the more successful they are, the more past customers they have, the more that need to be serviced, and having those products in the field actually, more than you may know it, really does help them you really do have their backs, because otherwise they would be strangled by their own success. So lots of highlights there. Okay, we teased what was coming up in 2023, and now we've gotten to that point. So looking ahead, what can we expect to see from Snap One?
Well, we kicked off this year with big product launches, many of which we debuted at CEDIA last year, but they started shipping end of last year, early this year. Luma really embodies, the X20 line embodies the very reason why we brought together Control4 and at the time Snap AV, because we intimately know how these platforms work. And when you bring them together with one engineering team that can utilize all the form and functionality of those products and put them together for a better experience, that's what we're delivering. That's what we're working on. That is that vision that, as John said, we're on this journey, and you're starting to see the fruits of the labor. You're starting to see these proof points of us delivering. X20 is a massive leap forward. We address so many things for partners and for end customers alike with X20. We've heard for years, we've known that in large surveillance systems, the user experience isn't up to what a single DIY camera can deliver. And that's been a challenge for this industry. So we believe we've really advanced the capabilities of a end customer's usability with the Luma product. We've made it easier for our partners. The drivers are now very simple to connect with Control4 and utilize functionality that never existed before. So now we have streaming thumbnails and lots of new features that didn't exist in the past. And then we use Oversee to tie it all together. As I said, pay attention, we're dropping these breadcrumbs. When you're inside the Luma X20 and you deploy a system, there's now the ability to hand that system off to the end customer. And that ensures their privacy and quite frankly, many of our integrators, our partners, protection as well, by handing these systems off. And now that end customer has full control over who has access to their system, so we don't have to worry about any back doors that are left. So Luma really embodies a lot of what we're working on. That just launched. There's some new products that will continue to trickle out into the market to complete that product line. Control4, I mentioned last year, a big launch on the Core series, and you can imagine that there'll be new new additions to that product line, maybe some that are a little more price sensitive, as I drop some hints along the way. Halo, we've got one of our 2 Halos now shipping. The second one will be very soon. Massive step forward in remote controls. We knew right when the companies came together that Neo was going to be a big product, but it already had some gaps at day one. So we've addressed those gaps: better Wi-Fi performance, backlight capability, voice capability, and quite frankly, more buttons. Just the Neos did not have enough buttons. So those are things that you're seeing today. I can't really speak too much about the future, but some of the things that we've been dropping some breadcrumbs on, if you were an astute viewer from anything going on at ISE, the show in Barcelona, you may have caught a glimpse of some new Triad product. I mentioned it earlier, we worked hard on the architectural, but now as we transition into the in-room and sound bars, you'll see some products there. And then, of course, our platforms, Oversee platform. We are continuing to evolve that Oversee platform. And that platform, we're going to continue to make it more user-friendly for our partners and extend services that will support our partners, making it easier for the end customer. The example I gave, being able to commission or deploy a system and turn it over to the end customers, is one. But we're doing a lot more on the dashboard capability to give our partners more insight to what's going on the job site. And we're working hard. If you look at not only Luma, but even Wi-Fi, Arachnus Wi-Fi, you're doing a lot more in the app. So we're very thoughtful on helping deliver more scale in the industry creating a singular tool where our integrators can operate to deploy and deliver support these systems long term.
Yeah, I think the other piece of that, GPaul, is, this industry has been built largely, Jason, on a one-time acquisition cost model. And what I mean there very specifically is the integrator sells something to a consumer, and the vast majority of the economics are on the front end. And I think what GPaul and his team are working on is all this software functionality that's going to enable this industry to have a software model in addition to the hardware model they've had. And if you just look at the millions of homes that this industry has installed over the past 25 years, and just said to yourself, what if there was some sort of even moderate recurring revenue model around these homes? What would the profitability of this industry and the integrators business look like? And we're working on a lot of those things behind the scenes.
John, we just returned from an event last week. We had 40 partners in a room, and the number one topic continues to be at these events of helping the labor shortage in the industry. And there's a number of things that we as a company can do and are doing, some again behind the scenes, to address that. From a product standpoint, we think about it quite a bit. How can we make the install time take less time, or make it easier for our partners? And one of the stories that I can share here is we got a lot of questions recently. We launched Halo, and there's a QR code right on the front of the Halo remote control. And folks were asking, well, why are we doing that? Well, again, we are committed to this industry. We are committed to our partners and going to market through professional integrators. But if we can help them add on sales to existing customers, where you can deliver a Halo remote control through the mail and they can set it up themselves, that's awesome. So these are the type of little things that you'll see as you put the pieces of the puzzle together that we're working hard to deliver.
Yeah, I think that the point you make there, GPaul, is a good one. I did hear from integrators also last week who were talking about the ability to have that a little bit of self-programming, I'll call it, for the end user to be able to do some of that scene control on their own. It eases the integrator, who's still there as the expert, still there to support the customer, of course, but takes a lot of that labor burden away. And I think also makes the customer even more enamored with their system, a little more sticky, because they actually are involved and working with it. So it may on the surface look like you're pushing away a functionality from an integrator, but you're actually supporting them by doing something like that. So, all right. Well, lots to look forward to for 2023. So let's talk about the market. We just kind of did an overview looking at, some of the challenges that happened in 2022. What is your outlook going ahead for 2023? Where do we see things happening from a general economic standpoint, and how integrators can prepare their businesses for the future?
Well, obviously, we're thinking a lot about that because we depend on the integrators. And so let me start off, instead of with 2023, the next 10 years. And what's not a controversy at all is America is underhoused. It's a fact that there are not, this is not 2007 or 8, where there were too many houses for the population. It's factual that there's actually too few homes for the population. And we are privy to lots of research out there. And the number of homes that are going to be built in this next decade far outnumber the number of homes that have been built in the previous 10 years. That's great news for the industry. No one can then argue that we're going to have more homes with more technology in them. There will be an upgrade cycle with existing homes. So the future for this industry is very bright. Now let's come to 2023, where we've had disruption with mortgage rates, home prices, et cetera. And we forecast that this year there'll be significantly fewer homes built. Let's call it, no one actually knows, but let's call it 15 to 20% fewer homes will be built. Number one, I think that's going to affect lower priced homes more than very high priced homes. This has been confirmed with me in some of my discussions with integrators, by the way, anecdotally. Number two, it's a great time to go back to your install base. And number three, I think it's a great time maybe to focus on our teams that we jointly have in this industry, because people have been running so hard. So notwithstanding the pullback in housing, I think there's still plenty of homes being built to feed this industry with plenty of business. We may not have the same backlogs that we've enjoyed over the past couple of years, but that's okay. Those backlogs will come back. Inside Snap, we're asking ourselves all the things we can do to save money through things like consolidating vendors and so forth, so that we can be more efficient in our own operations and therefore help integrators be more efficient with theirs. And so, what I would say to integrators is we may have to hustle a little bit more as an industry, but there's still plenty of business out there. The curve is upwards long-term. Take care of your teams, because that's the only way you're going to take care of your existing people, because that's the only way you're going to be able to meet the demand that's coming at you. Think about where you might be able to consolidate vendors. Maybe the past 2 years, I've had to keep all my vendor options open. I had to make sure I had supply chain options, right? I didn't have time to train my people on new products because they were working 60 hours a week. So maybe now is a great time to consolidate vendors to get some internal efficiencies. I speak with a lot of integrators who are recognizing how standardization in their business can help them deliver better and more efficiently. Those vendors may be willing, if you consolidate, to provide you with some incentives to do so, which can save you budget money or save your customer budget money. And, also look for commercial opportunities. This industry did a really good job in 2007 and 2008 of looking for pivoting, in a sense, to more commercially oriented applications. I know we've been trying to add some of those because our integrators, GPaul, asked for it and more commercially oriented solutions. And so think about those opportunities. So that's kind of how we're viewing the world inside our company, and what I would advise to any integrator out there.
Yeah, I would add the multifamily opportunity to that too. You mentioned what's going on in the single family, but the price of land has become so expensive. We see the multifamily opportunity really coming upstream.
Absolutely.
Well, in the product perspective, Jason, you and I just left Lightapalooza, and the industry clearly is gravitating towards another new category from many integrators that are out there, and we're well positioned with that. We've delivered the Vibrant series, as I mentioned earlier, another product that's soon to release. Many saw last year at CEDIA. It's a great new product that is a new subcategory. It's our Radiance product line that combines outdoor living, landscape lighting, and audio products. So lighting is going to be a really big opportunity for many of our integrators in this industry in the future.
Absolutely. All right. Let's kind of wrap this up with just kind of an overview of how Snap One is continuing to push forward its vision to be a valuable and trusted source for its partners out there. What's your advice to integrators about where Snap is and how you've got their backs?
Well, I think, this industry, when I talk to integrators, there's so many different small ones to big ones, what their focus is, et cetera. I think from my perspective is like their business is our business. Like our job, our aspiration is to bring together the best people in the industry, the best partners in the industry, the best products in the industry, whether they're ours or somebody else's, to help these integrators deliver amazing entertainment experiences, security experiences, and all the infrastructure that keeps them connected in their everyday lives. And our advice is just keep watching what we're doing, give us feedback. That's how we run our business. We run our business for them, and hold us accountable. We're continuing to make huge investments in the product platforms GPaul has described. We'll spend somewhere between $60 to $70 million in R&D for this industry this year. We are opening more stores. We're building more business platforms. You started to see some of that early last year when we brought together our rewards programs across many of our different go-to-market platforms. You're starting to see more of it now when we're joining kind of the Snap AV and the Control4 portal. And we're continuing to invest hundreds of millions of dollars for this industry.
Yeah, John, I said it earlier. We are committed to the integrators, the partners in the industry. We don't go around our partners, and we're committed to that $60 to $70 million we invest. That goes all into the products that our integrators use. We have over 4,000 product SKUs that are 1P brands. 1P is proprietary, a term we use internally. And then we have thousands of other brands that are 3P. And there's nobody better positioned than Snap One to make sure that we can deliver what we call smart living experiences. And that's when all these experiences come together to provide those simple and reliable experiences for the end customer, but also the partner as well. So I think, Jason, the analogy you used was the 50 states. And there's truth to that. Again, because we own these brands, we own the firmware, the software that goes behind all these products, we will continue to build on those experiences to have incredible experiences for our partners to deliver to end customers and help grow the business.
All right.
But we're only 500 miles into the journey. So at the end of next year, we'll be 600 miles. And when we speak, we'll be able to talk to all the things that we still need to do to be the partner we want to be for this industry.
You're going to have to start selling shoe leather for that additional 500 miles of walking or running, I guess we're going to be doing. So, John Heyman, GPaul Hess, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for giving us an update on what's happening with Snap and a look ahead. And again, thanks for joining CE Pro.
Thanks for all you do for the industry, Jason.